So here we are, and welcome to Tineke Rensen. Did I say that right?
We should have practiced it, shouldn't we?
Tineke Rensen.
Tineke Rensen.
No, I could never do that, but it sounds great. Say it again. It sounds wonderful.
Tineke Rensen.
Rensen. Oh, that's a great vowel thing. Okay, so well, I'm in Southern California. It's kind of bland and American. So I thank you for being involved in Global Press Club and being involved in Global TV Talk Show. I understand you have a webinar coming up.
I do.
When and what is it about?
Well, it is a pre-recorded webinar, and it is about something which is very dear to my heart, and it is about, people seem to believe that the business playing field for men and women is equal. And especially men believe it's that way. And in the way it is, but in another way it's not. The whole business arena is designed by men, which is fine, and which makes sense because doing business has been a male-dominated area since the Middle Ages. But, as everywhere, women now are stepping up and also starting businesses. For example, in my country, it's now 37% of every new business in a year is owned by women, startup. So that's pretty significant, and it's growing. Yeah, thank you. But what we see is that those businesses remain very small. And why is that the case? We see that those businesses are a lot less successful. And why is that the case? And it came to my belief and my awareness through personal experience that this is because doing business is made by men, designed by men, and therefore the masculine way of doing business is how you become successful.
Okay, let's define that, okay?
Sorry?
Let's define masculine versus...
Okay, so good. Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question. Masculine is about focus, is about goal-oriented, is about strategy, is about being bold, and is about financial understanding. It's about strategy. And, we often say a business is just a vehicle, it's a system. For a woman, a business is a whole other thing. And focus, for the traditional feminine woman, having focus is extremely difficult because we hear everything, we see everything, we feel a lot. So focusing means that you eliminate everything which is around you and focus, but also making choices, determining where you want to go to. For a woman, making a choice means not choosing other things. So when there's, for example, 5-6 things to choose from, it's a lot more difficult for her because she's going to leave things behind or leave people behind. So focusing is something else. It's not choosing the way forward, but it's leaving things out. It's leaving things behind. That is just one significant difference. Why it's a lot more difficult for women to focus.
So let me ask a couple of male questions.
Yes,
and
beautiful.
Okay, so when I approach a woman owner of a business,
yeah,
to consider coming on Global TV Talk Show and even sponsoring or joining the press club or doing things, it just has happened, and I've been doing this almost 3 years, that there's almost never a fast answer. It could be no, but it could also be yes, or call me in January or something. Now it does happen. It certainly does. And but everything takes longer because I see it as, and to compliment you on your analysis and your succinctness, they're already involved. Women business owners that have a lot of responsibility and they have a life, not just business. So they're managing time. They know what they want to do. They know who their customer is. And sometimes there's just no space to take on something new. That's how I see it.
That might be a reason, but the other reason is she wants to make a solid decision, because if she commits to something, she commits to something. Yeah, it's a solid yes if you get a yes, and there's no buts, no nothing. There will be cancellations, So she'll have to figure out for herself: am I able to do this? Do I feel comfortable to do this? Do I have time to do this? Whilst as a man just sees it, opportunity, yes, go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is coming from a total different way of analyzing and making a decision.
Yeah. So let's talk about the idea of grit. Now, I got that from just earlier this morning, in my morning, by looking at information connected to one of the introductions you provided to me a while ago. And one of these women was a focus on, I can't think of her name right now, but she's really eloquent in her writing language, speaking by writing on LinkedIn in the profile about the idea of grit, G-R-I-T, and how important that is, first of all, to understand it and to define it. And I think she was talking to women in that, but it was hard to tell. And, to me, it was plain language, not aimed at women or men. Yeah, so she talked about the idea of, do you have enough grit? Do you understand what it is and why it's important to have grit? And grit, amongst other definitions, she said, this is from my memory from earlier today, and only one cup of coffee so far, is resilience. And
was it Harriet?
No, the other lady. Yeah.
Lubna.
Yeah. I mean, really eloquent writing about this topic. And she went on and on about all that, defining it and understanding it and communicating what the grit is and how important it is if you're wanting to grow as a business person.
Yeah, it is. And I think it is something that women can evolve a lot. And the feminine woman is not someone who immediately takes the stage. It's not someone who you could perceive as having that. But I say perceive deliberately, because now you really are challenging me. So
why is this so hard?
I like this. I just wish it wasn't live. But that's good. The feminine woman seems to be different. She seems to not go so much on the forefront. She seems to be more in the back, because it's not all about her. Feminine is make other people shine. Masculine is it's about me, and both are okay. Yeah. So yeah, women definitely in many cases will need more resilience. Yet on the other hand, I also feel that the way they do show it is overseen, because it is a different way of showing that you're present, that you're there, that you're capable of doing things. We're not like this, but we're like, hey, here I am, I'm open.
Thank
And
you.
I think that is a total different way of being there.
So let's talk about your webinar. Is it related to what we happen to be talking about this moment?
It's specifically related to how the masculine and the feminine are both needed in business, as well as the energy as the skills. So I just talked about some masculine skills, and that is whether we like it or not, ladies. If you're watching, it is needed to become successful in business nowadays still, because that is the definition of success. If you look it up in the dictionary, is a masculine way. It's about numbers, it's about money, it's about it's size. Power as well. The feminine way of definition is about inclusiveness, is about making impact, is about making a change and the difference. So it is a different way of perceiving success. And I think we're now shifting more, and we're talking more about feminine leadership. I think we're shifting, especially in the Western countries, and not in the whole world yet, more to feminine, where men also are being taught about feminine skills, feminine traits, feminine leadership. So I think it's a beautiful time where we are now, because it's shifting.
Yeah. So in the webinar, is this a one day webinar?
No, it's a 1 hour webinar. And the feminine skills in business are, like I said, inclusiveness, don't leave anybody behind, precisely making things as good as you can. It's not about the numbers, but it's about creating harmony. It's about harmony within the team, because it's really important for women, because that's how they are. It's not because it's a skill they learn, because that's often for men, it's a skill they learn because they've learned, hey, it's important to keep our team members aboard, otherwise I will have to find new members. For a woman, when someone leaves, it's someone of her family that leaves. It feels totally different. So I think both skills are very important, and you need to work, they need to both be on board. So for women, it's important to learn about masculine skills to become more successful and to create that impact. But she can also learn that, hey, but my feminine way is also accepted if I do a few things differently, which I haven't been doing before. And often they don't see it that way. And that's why they get fed up with doing business, because they're being perceived as weak, too precise, not stepping up for themselves. But that is all perceived by the masculine way of looking at how a business is being done, how it's supposed to be.
So let's talk about a couple of specific points, and then sort of zoom out and then come back in on perhaps another level. So harmonizing the workforce within the group, right? It is a family if when it works, and it's not a family if there's some oddball or somebody's upset at another person for being aggressive rather than collegial.
Yeah. So, but and women can be like that too, because many women have learned to own the masculine skills so well that they become, I always say, men in skirts. And then they are perceived as being bitches because they play the game too well. But it doesn't suit a woman to be too masculine. It's not how it is supposed to be, and it's not how she has to lead. So there's another thing I need to add, and then I'll go back to the team. There's the high masculine, which is providing, and there's the low masculine, which is about overpowering. And there's a few other high masculine and low masculine. There's the same with feminine. Low feminine is being jealous, and women can do that a lot, is sharing frustration, gossiping. And there's the high feminine, which is being aligned, trusting, allowing everybody to be the way they are, co-creation. So yeah, it does demand something of the leader first to have a congruence between the two forces, the two skills, but also the two energies. Because because I talk very loud, I come across as very masculine. Now, I used to be an extremely masculine woman. So yeah, people still perceive me often like that because I'm powerful, I'm strong, but I can also be gentle. I'm very intuitive. I don't have to know how things are going because I set an intention instead of a goal. And my intentions always work out and I don't have to work hard. It's co-creation with synchronicity, with coincidences. Now, if this is how you want to lead a team, it takes a lot of the team too. Because that means that they will have to be able to manage insecurities, because the leader cannot always say, we're going to do it this, check, 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 step 1, step 2, step 3. No, she will have a goal and then they start to play. They know where to go, but they don't know how to get there. So that will evolve during the process. It's a different way of being and leading the team.
You mentioned the word intentional.
Yeah.
And that's a hot word these days out there. Intentional is
I was
simple,
not
right?
aware. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Sorry?
intentional means you intend to do something.
No, not an intention is, yes, that's probably in the dictionary. An intention comes from a different place in your body. I think a goal comes from the heart, from the head, and the mind, the brain. I think an intention more comes through the heart. So it's from a different place. It's something you desire, but if you can then let it go and are open, you set the intention, this is how I desire, this is what I desire. For example, 3 weeks ago, I was thinking, last weekend, I did a talk in Barcelona about personal leadership. And someone looked at it and he said, would you be open to do a talk on the World Economic Forum? And I said, oh yeah, definitely. And he said, well, don't you have to think about it? And I thought, yeah, I'm a masculine woman if I want to. So no, I don't need to think about it, because 2 weeks ago, I set an intention that I am now ready to speak at the World Economic Forum. And how beautiful would it be if I would get the stage there to talk about exactly this topic? And this guy said to me, well, I know the daughter of Reinhard, whatever his name is, I think, Wernhard, the organizer. And it's now coming that close. It hasn't manifested yet because he now needs to introduce me, and I now need to also, show up that I'm capable of doing that. But this is what an intention does. You give it energy, vibration, and it's out there in the field somewhere around where we all connect without us knowing, but we can feel it. You can walk up to a person and you can feel the person without even shaking his or her hand. That is what I mean. That's the energy we send out. And this is how I manifested this opportunity. And that happens with an intention.
That's a really good story. And I wish you the best on that. If
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
it won't be this time, maybe another time. But they also have regional events, which could be a stepping stone.
Mm.
So anyway, let's go back to your webinar. What's the
Yeah.
date and the time?
It will be ready on the 13th of December.
Tuesday.
Yeah, and people can just watch it. So, you know, there's always these catches that you have to give your email address. I now don't want to do it the masculine, salesy way, but the feminine way, for giving, open, whoever is interested, watch it. It's a tryout for me too, you know, so you'll get it. There's no email asked. I'm not going to send you emails or newsletters or whatever. There is an upsell, of course, and that is a meditation. And also that is because I want this to be out there. It's only 15 euros, which is about $13, I think. And the meditation is about harmonizing the two energies.
So it's free to watch,
Yeah,
but you are offering something else at
yeah.
So
the webinar is free,
13
where I
euros.
explain everything about what is masculine skills, what is feminine skills. I go back into a bit of history. Why is this the case? I go back into the high masculine, the low masculine, the high feminine, the low feminine, and what they are. And now I just explained a couple, but it's a whole hour, and I think it will open many eyes, ears. Whenever I talk about this, women say, I never understood how my mom could get my dad and my brother to do things, but now I see she does it, and when I try to do it, it doesn't work. And she said, my mom has a subtle approach. She has the soft voice, she has the complimenting. I don't want to compliment my dad. He just have to do something when I ask. So it's the competition of the masculine, but the feminine is sweet, is tender. And if you ask it in the right way, ladies, a man cannot refuse to do something. So, you know, but we have to know these kind of things and use these kind of things. So yeah, that's what the webinar is all about when to use the masculine, when to use the feminine, and to know about the differences, and that you can be successful with both, and that you need both.
So is this going to be recorded, of course, it's being produced, and it's going to be a Zoom thing or something like it. And that means you have a record for marketing it post production.
Yeah, I have a link. It's on a website, and I can send you the link. So when you post this interview, if you would want to add see, this is what I'm now doing. I'm doing you see the feminine thing.
It's sort of like wow, you know, that was a shift.
Yeah. I'm blushing. So that was natural. That wasn't faked. But yeah, if you would love to, if you want to do that, please, that would be amazing.
I would be honored to publish it on a special website I'm doing for Tineke Rensen.
Okay.
So we can promote all your stuff, not just one show at a time. So please keep me informed. I'm a publisher and broadcaster. And so I have these skills, and you know, it's a no-brainer for me. And I think this would be a worldwide event, not necessarily on December 13, but in the rollout, because this is an instruction that a lot of people, not just women, but a lot of people will be really interested in. Particularly important would be from a cross-cultural training point of view, not only male and feminine, but how is it viewed in Northern Europe versus Southern Europe, or Eastern Europe, or in Africa, or in Asia?
Well, I don't have a lot of experience with that yet, but it's just talking about assumptions. Southern Europe is a lot more masculine. There's a lot less women in business. Africa is a very masculine country, but the women there are extremely strong women, powerful women. They are very masculine from what I see. But I also meet them in London, for example. They're very, very powerful. And actually, from what I know, they're the strong persons in the family, because the man, they're lazy, and that's what I hear from the women. So I don't have personal experience.
This is funny. Well, this didn't start out to be a comedy show, but so let's talk about what your follow-up will be following this December 13, um, and the upsell idea. You're looking for clients, not only for your advisory services, but also your speaking roles. And
Yeah.
so, how would you, as a female entrepreneur, how would you position those add-on services within the scope of that 1 day, 1 hour event? So in other words, how would you utilize
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
opportunity?
We're in the process now of positioning me and rebranding me as a speaker. I would somehow say, like, harmonize the feminine and business, harmonize the feminine and masculine in your leadership or in your business. But we'll have to come up with a catchy title, and yeah, we're crafting my speaker website now, so that's not ready yet.
Okay, so we're talking about not a transgender transformation here, but it's a mental thing about the merging of attitudes
Yeah,
and ways of
yeah,
communicating.
definitely. Yeah, I think this is knowledge which it's in the subconscious of many people. They're not aware of it, and once they can put it up and become aware of it, they can start to play with it and start to use it more deliberately instead of subconsciously. And I think that really is going to make a big difference for many people.
Okay, now's the time to announce your website for everybody to know this.
Powerfulbusinessacademy.com.
Great. Now you have a subsidiary enterprise helping women business owners with credit. Would you like to discuss that a little bit?
Yes, it's She Credit. It's a credit union. We have members, and members are members that either need funding, and those can only be women-owned businesses with a majority of the shares, and the funders can be women and men. So we have men and women as our members. And we fund women who need a minimum of 25,000 euro up to 250,000 euro. And it's because it's been proven throughout all over the world that women are getting less funding. And I'm not going to debate if they're less capable of pitching or presenting, whatever. It's proven that they are getting less funding. And there's many reasons why this is the case. So we focus in the Netherlands solely with She Credit on women-owned businesses that need funding.
This is fascinating. Is there a special website for that?
Yes, it's shecredit.nl. Yet it is in Dutch, but you know, our friend Google always has a translation button, so
Yeah.
I suppose you can still understand where it's all about.
Well, thanks for being on my show again. This is brief but poignant talk
Thank you.
we've had today, and I think that my audience, which keeps growing, thankfully, averaging, according to Google Analytics, about 1,200 audience views, they call it, each week on average. Some smaller,
Beautiful.
some bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this show will, over the course of weeks and months going forward, because of our repetitive distribution through LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube and our sites, um, should land on more than 250,000 platforms. So
Wow.
I want the people to open it and see
Yes.
the smarts that you have and the common sense and the energy that you've just displayed, that is very, very doable for women, for men.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you for doing this. Please come back and do another show. And don't forget to send me that link, because I'll want to, if not watch the whole thing, certainly record it and put it on our site to help you. You know, we have a subsidiary site that's called IQ. Duh, you know, IQ.
Yeah.
So, and the nickname is IQ News. And I've been using that to primarily publish infographics,
Uh-huh.
okay, which is big, beautiful, colorful portrayal of data, such as
Yeah.
the world's largest economies, or what
Oh,
states export more than other states. And
I have a few beautiful ones for you if you
so
want to.
I would like to do that. And that uh, has been on my website, globalbusinessnews.net, in a subsidiary page. And only recently, really just in the last 6 months or so, have I smartened up and started putting that out as its own send, you know, as its own distribution channel. And man, it's been growing
Oh,
every
wow.
week. It's been
Beautiful.
growing because of the graphics. And so now I've said, well, we're getting all these eyeballs. We might as well sell some ad space because it's getting visual. And so now we're selling some ad space on it, and
Oh, amazing. I'm happy for you.
it's
Yeah.
become profitable. And
Beautiful.
so now what I've done is beginning to add in some non-infographics
Okay.
information, but the primary purpose is to help people's business IQ go up by looking at this data, which otherwise would be mind numbing and, you know, it just goes right over your head. But in a graphic portrayal, it's not only beautiful to look at, but really easy to understand and make comparisons about iron ore is produced in Chile more than in the US, for
Yeah, yeah,
instance.
yeah.
All right. And so anyway, if you have an infographic, please send that
Yeah,
along too.
I do. I have lots because about 10 years ago I did a study about how women do business, and we asked them 30 questions and about 400 women responded. So we created infographics with that data.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Thanks very much. Tineke, Rensen in Rotterdam. You know, I've never been to Rotterdam, and I need to get there.
Yeah, you do. Come and see us.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, come over to the Netherlands. It's
Uh,
it's it's getting dark now though. It's yeah.
yeah,
It's your
right.
morning, eh?
Yeah, it's I don't know what time it is here. Let's see, about 7:30 in the morning. Let's see.
Yeah, it's
Seven
early.
7:36.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Okay.
this is the first of three programs I'm broadcasting today, and all different. So
Beautiful.
my next program is at my 8:30, and
Uh-huh.
it's with a former president of World Affairs Council, which has to
Nice.
do with international sister city
All
programs.
right. Yeah.
So, like for instance, here in San Diego, my guest David uh, used to live and work in Russia, and more often than not in Vladivostok, which is on the northern Russian Pacific Ocean coast.
Mhm.
As a major fishing center, fishing port.
Okay.
Yeah, and so San Diego is a fishing port also. So they have a lot. So anyway, we're going to be talking about world affairs and
Beautiful.
how that's not only a communications device, but a channel of business potential development. That's it.
I love how you bring all these experts
Oh, thank you.
available to your audience. Beautiful. Well done.
Thank,
Continue doing it.
thank you for supporting this, because that's what it takes. And I
Yeah,
appreciate your help. And so
definitely.
have a good day. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Bye
Okay.
bye.
Thank you. Come back again. Bye-bye.